They told him he could have anything: wealth, power, even a noblewoman from the royal court. But when the human diplomat stood before the alien queen, surrounded by her glowing council, he said something no one in the galaxy had ever dared. "I want you." The hall froze. Gasps, whispers. 1,000 glowing eyes turned toward him. The queen's bioluminescent markings flickered. Confusion, fear, and something else. Something dangerously close to hope. That moment didn't just break protocol. It changed an empire forever. If that opening caught you off guard, trust me, the rest of this story only goes deeper. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share this one with your fellow sci-fi fans. And because today we're not just talking about interstellar politics. We were talking about the one human act that rewrote an alien civilization's idea of love. Let's get into it. The grand chamber of the Luminari Royal Palace shimmered with soft blue light, every surface alive with faint bioluminescence. To most humans, it would have felt alien, sacred. But to Lieutenant Commander David Mitchell, it was a reminder of how small one man could feel among gods. He stood before Queen Saras Vala, ruler of the Luminari Empire, whose glowing markings rippled like sunlight underwater. Today, she honored him for saving millions during the border crisis, a feat that had earned him the right of royal choice, an ancient gift that no outsider had ever been granted. Her voice carried across the throne hall, calm, flawless, eternal. "Lieutenant Commander Mitchell, you may request anything: wealth, land, title, or companionship. You may choose any woman of marriageable status within our court." Every noble in the chamber leaned forward. The air itself seemed to hold its breath. David looked up at her, really looked, and for a single heartbeat, the ceremony, the court, the rules, all vanished. He said, "Your Majesty, I choose you." Gasps erupted. The silence that followed felt like gravity collapsing, and in that silence, the most powerful woman in the galaxy forgot how to breathe. No one dared to move. Even the royal guards stood frozen, their armor humming faintly in the electric tension that gripped the room. Queen Saras Vala, the woman known across a dozen systems as unshakable, blinked once, twice, her glowing markings flickering like a heartbeat gone wild. Shock, disbelief, and something deeper flashed across her face before she forced it back behind her mask. "This is not appropriate," she said at last, her voice trembling in ways no one had ever heard. "The choice is meant for those within my court. I am not an option." But David didn't look away. "You said I could choose any woman of marriageable status within your court," he replied, calm, steady, deliberate. "You are unmarried, Your Majesty. You are part of your court. I am asking, not demanding." Her advisors rushed to speak, but the queen silenced them with a single wave. For the first time, her eyes met his without the barrier of a crown. "You would choose me," she whispered, almost to herself. "The one choice that could destroy you." David smiled, a small human smile that carried the weight of impossible courage. Exactly. For 3 days, silence ruled the palace. No messages, no summons, just the whisper of scandal echoing through marble halls. When the queen finally called for him, it wasn't to her throne room, but to her private study, a place no outsider had ever been. She wore no crown, no jewels, just simple robes, her glowing markings dim and unpatterned. "Sit," she said softly. "This is not an audience, it's a conversation." David obeyed, feeling the distance between them vanish like morning mist. "Do you know what you've done?" she asked. "You've shattered 15 years of control. You forced me to remember I am not just a ruler, I am still a person who can feel." He didn't argue. He didn't need to. She looked down, her markings pulsing faintly. "I built my reign on perfection, on distance. You made me question if those walls were strength or fear." David leaned forward. Then let me help you find out, not as a soldier, as a man who loves you. Her markings brightened, not in warning this time, but in wonder. And for the first time in her reign, Queen Saras let herself smile. When the news broke, the empire split in two. Some called it romance, a bridge between worlds. Others called it heresy. The queen defiled by emotion. The council demanded an inquiry. The media across the stars screamed scandal. And in the middle of it all stood Queen Saras Vala, unbent, unbroken, her human consort by her side. Before the council, she faced her accusers. "You claim love makes me weak," she said, her voice calm but fierce. "But what's more dangerous? A ruler who feels nothing, or one who remembers what it means to be alive?" The chamber murmured. Even her enemies fell silent. David stood a few steps behind her, silent, steady, her anchor in a storm of politics and prejudice. Saras continued. "He did not compromise my judgment. He reminded me why I lead, for people who laugh, who fear, who love, for those who still feel." And for a long moment, no one could speak. That speech was recorded, replayed, studied for generations. The council ruled in her favor. And that night, beneath quiet starlight, the queen who had never allowed herself to feel reached for the human who made her remember how. 1 year later, the galaxy watched as Queen Saras Vala walked down the steps of the palace, not as a ruler bound by protocol, but as a woman walking toward the man who dared to love her. The ceremony was simple, yet no moment in Luminari history felt more powerful. When their hands met, the court glowed brighter than ever before. In that single act, centuries of distance between species, rank, and duty dissolved. That night, in the quiet of her private chambers, Saras whispered, "When you said you wanted me, you didn't just choose a queen. You freed one." David smiled, his voice low. "And when you said yes, you didn't just free yourself. You changed what love means to your empire." Years later, when students studied her reign, they didn't just talk about reforms or treaties. They spoke of the moment the queen learned to be human again. Her final words as monarch became legend across worlds. "Rule wisely, serve your people, but never forget, you are one of them too." And somewhere, far from politics and ceremony, two hearts, one human, one luminari, still glowed in the same light. If you've made it this far, you just witnessed one of the most powerful HFY love stories ever told. Not about conquest, but about courage. The courage to look at power and say, "I want you, not your throne, not your title, just you." If you enjoyed this story, hit that like button, subscribe, and share it with someone who believes love is still the most revolutionary act in the universe. And remember, humanity's greatest strength has never been its weapons. It's our hearts. Stay tuned for more HFY tales, because out there among the stars, humans are still writing the most impossible stories ever told.